Welcome, everyone, to the fourth One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. And I believe we have Mr. Keshe and Caroline here today to help us with guidance through today's meeting. I'm not sure if they're available immediately here, though. Let's see if we can find Mr. Keshe today. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you there yet?
No, it's me. He's
Okay.
he's trying to stay out of view for the time being.
Okay.
I'm having a lot of noise around me. I'm going to try to test with you if I put my headset in, if it will be easier for you. Because we're going to pick up a lot of noise. Just 1 second, please. The location is more or less stable.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you well.
And less background music or noise?
Yes, it's pretty good.
Pretty good. Okay. I'm trying to adjust my headset. That is not too loud. Sorry for that, but we are as usually moving. But thanks God, everything is stable. You can hear me very well?
Yes, it sounds good, Caroline.
Oh, that's great. If my microphone talks or makes that ticking noise, just remind me because my glasses are in the way.
Okay.
Okay. Just 1 second. I hope, as usual, we are all filled up from our cafeteria, coffee, tea, fish, drinks, to take the journey, how to learn, how to work with our soul, how to create a path of the soul, of understanding, how we can, as we are all here for already so many weeks, to achieve world peace, to create a path, not only for humans, not only for humanity, but include every single being, whether it is a fish or a bird or a tree, that they all come to equal recognition of existence, that they can be in peace and share. But it's a wandering path because it's the first time humanity has put the first footsteps for this. Just 1 second, please. Just 1 second, Rick.
I think you need to include dogs in your list of animals and plants and things there, Caroline.
I know, Rick, I know. I got a very tricky one.
Yeah, he took exception to your list there.
When I move away, too far away from him, he just makes sure I know and everybody else knows. He wants to confirm, don't forget me. You're 100% right with that one. I think the animal world will really appreciate with all these getting into a position of understanding most of us have already this kind of understanding. People which have animals at home, they take care of them, they love them, they nourish them. And when they go through pain, they go through the same pain. So there is a huge level of understanding for people which deal with animals. I really admire a lot, like veterinarians, which really go for the rescue of animals or see where they can help them, because animals don't talk, not at the language of the level that we understand. So I would like to ask all our teams, how can we create a communication on soul level that we can communicate? How would be for all of you the easiest path to find that path? Because I have heard incredible stories of people which really can communicate with animals. Are there any members in the audience today present which can maybe help us to understand, if they have this communication line with animals, how do they achieve it? Is there anyone in the audience which has this kind of expertise or knowledge? As Topoli made sure, don't forget us. Anyone in the audience or anybody in the team, anybody in the council member? Has experience with communicating with animals?
I think most people have, some sort of communication with animals, whether they, just instinctively may reach out with their hand if there's a passing dog and, want to pet the dog or somehow communicate with that animal. For example, in the floods that occurred with the Hurricane Harvey in Houston, I just happened to see a video a few hours ago with, there was a stranded horse, and the horse was totally scared standing in this water. The water was rushing up to the chest of the horse, and it was standing in the water, and it couldn't move. It didn't know what to do. And they sent a rescue team in to try to guide this horse out. And the person from the team who actually engaged with the horse, he had to be very gentle and very careful in this situation, not to spook the horse and get it to run away and so on. So I noticed what the person did was they approached the horse slowly and carefully, but what they did is they opened their hand up and they offered their hand to the horse. And the horse, moved its head around and sniffed a bit and sort of seemed to recognize that this human was there to help them. And then the person, carefully put a loop of rope around the neck of the horse and tied a halter on to make it so it would be more gentle. And then it took a team of 3 or 4 of them to guide this horse out of the rushing waters. But the point being that I think we instinctively tend to open our hand up to other beings as a gesture of that, I'm here and I'm willing to open up to you, basically. And that's as we've seen before in the science of hand signals and so on, that this open hand shows a giving a giving situation. So maybe that's one way that people communicate with animals and do it, you know, basically instinctively. It's something that I think we all know how to do. We all know how to lend a hand or, you know, shake hands with other beings, basically. And that's with an open and accepting, I'm here to give and I'm here to help sort of intention.
Rick, with you bringing this up, do you have access easy to the pictures Mr. Keshe was showing in the universal language, to the signing of the hands, the position of the hands?
I think so. Let me see if I can find.
I think there is one picture which goes in that direction.
Sorry, I thought it was in one place, but it isn't here. I'll have to keep looking.
No problem, because with you explaining about how the man approached the horse, there is a field which your intention, not only by the gesture because you connected with the physicality, but when the people are genuine, offering their help, the animals seem to connect with you in your fields. And it's something that just brought back that Mr. Keshe was using one of those in his in that teaching. I know a lot of people can bring really beautiful stories about communication with animals. In the meantime, when Rick is trying to find them for us, take your time, Rick. There's no hurry.
I think I found the document here.
Okay. I'm working on a very small screen, so you find a nice link, Rick. I've been trying to find this one. If you can post this link, that would be great.
I'm just having trouble with my mouse right now. In fact, my whole computer seems to be slowing down. Not sure what's going on there. I'm getting a slowdown happening, so it's not responding properly. Okay. So you wanted the open hand one? Is that what you were talking about?
If you can find it, yes, please.
I don't know if I see the open hand one here, actually. I don't know if that got covered. Unless it was this one.
It's not easy because these are taken from screenshots.
Yeah, I don't see a good example of the open hand in this write-up.
I have it somewhere in my library. I can go and take a look at it and bring it forward as a screen share, because this is a totally different language. It's not in this one, Rick.
Okay.
Because I went through this one and I couldn't find it. But
All
this is a beautiful link to post again for people to go through if they would like to. But as I'm going to go through my, what was the name of the lady? I can't remember. She made them with the text next to it. And those are beautiful because these are a different screenshot. These, what you showed was a message. Now, not only with animals, are there people which are communicating with the plant world, with flowers or plants or trees? If Snap is present, I know he really works with the plant world. Did you find the other ones?
No, I can't look for anything right now. My computer is messing up and slowing down and ready to crash.
Okay. Oh, just look at your Zoom messages, please. It's the 122nd Knowledge Seekers workshop of July 21st after 57 minutes.
Did you find it, Sander? You can bring it forward if you want.
Not the picture, the video itself. Just a second, let me bring it to the beginning. The right second. I think it's here.
how to develop technologies and understand partially the line of communication in the universal language. Last week, at the beginning of my teaching, I used a direct language. If you remember, I went very easily, and they called me, I'm saying, satanic. No, this is what they do when you don't understand. That you are something because they know you understand too much, and they cannot abuse you. This is the language of universal language. Physicality, the emotion, and the soul. If you hold your finger this way, it means I'm prepared to communicate with you with my physicality and emotion. My soul is mine. If you turn your finger this way, I'm open. I cannot lie. I'll show you what it means. You understand the science behind it. This is not satanic. This is the language which was taught by man from the space, and those who understood it wanted to elevate themselves to be more important. You call themselves Illuminatis and Rothschilds. It's very simple. In a space, we do not have such a complicated digestion system as man has. So our soul and physicality and emotion stays together. It's the same as the 3 layers of your skin. The under, which gives feed, the middle, which is the transmutation from one layer to another, and the outer, which is the interaction between the environment and what is inside. So it's the same process. You have the soul, you have the emotion, you have the physicality. It means I can give you I'm prepared to talk on the physical term and emotional term, but not with my soul. When I closed my finger last week, I explained, it means I have withdrawn the emotion and physicality with the soul because you've done wrong. When you do this in space, it means I'm not prepared to negotiate. I'm not prepared to give. What I have is mine, which meant the planet Earth is ours. We want to keep it. We want to bring peace. You have to go home, which means take your physicality, take your emotion, and your soul. They know who abused it. I'll show you how it works. It's part of the teaching today. So anybody who calls you satanic, these are the people who have used you. Now they rely on your ignorance. This is how the church and the mosque work. They didn't want anybody to be educated because they even themselves, most of the priests, couldn't read. So whatever they said became the law. They lived and nourished on the ignorance and keeping people ignorant. And when people start educating, they lost their control. Now, I teach you the language of a space and the ethos which is built on. When you do this, it means my body and my emotion, I can talk. My soul is mine. When you do this, it means I keep my soul, but I'm prepared to negotiate. When you do this, it means I want to keep. I don't have much to give, and I don't understand. So it's very simple. Is the 3 layers. Can I have my screen, please? This is the same structure. When you understand it, they can't abuse. And then you understand how you can open, how you can understand, and how you can develop your knowledge to the limit that is good for what you understand. Let's go back, because this way you will understand it. It's connected the teaching together. Go back to the very first teaching. Go back to the course you made. Go back to the understanding of the plasma. Go back to book number 1, book number 2. So I'm not telling you something which is not there. You've been taught, but now we bring the knowledge together. If you remember, we do this. The plasma field. As this is the strongest in the center, and this is the transition point, and what you see here is the end, what it represents itself. If you see it at this level, this is what you will see at what is supposed to be. I cannot pick up my color. So what you see here is at this point. What you see there, where plasma it wants to show itself at this point. Go back to the plasma teaching. Go back, you have a visual, clear visual test. You've done it yourself. And we've been through it many times. You have the field goes from one to another,
Thank you, Shandor.
respect to its environment.
This is a beautiful reminder, even going and extending the language through the fields and the importance of interaction. This is the second time, Rick, isn't it, that we are bumping into these images of language of communication, to come to understand not only on earth, but above, and what has been brought in the past as a teaching. As he mentioned at the beginning, this has been taught, but it has been abused, unfortunately. Now the corrections are there. What are real intent, and see if they don't see, but
Hello? Hello, Caroline? I think we may have lost Caroline's connection, either that or my connection. Not sure which here.
Yeah, she dropped out.
Okay, I'm got a really flaky connection here. I'm not sure what's going on. My mouse keeps seizing up and I can't control it very well.
was I kicked out?
Yeah, I think there was an issue there, Caroline.
Was it me just losing my network?
I think so, yes. I'm having trouble as well, so I'm not sure what's going on. My computer's running really slow here and its mouse is not responding and the screen is not responding, so on. Okay, well, we can carry on, I guess, here.
What was the last thing? What was the last thing you heard me saying? Because I do not know where I dropped out. It doesn't show.
I'm not clear, actually. I was busy trying to get to so many things.
Sander, do you know where I dropped out, or Vince or Flint? Or I just do a recap?
I think so.
I was asking the audience if people can speak
Hello.
We call it instinct. So how pure words without the word being said. You're losing me again?
We can hear you now.
So it is a network problem. I was asking that if people can speak, but they don't speak, and they trust their instinct, how many of you, by trusting their instinct, how somebody will approach you without using any verbal communication, how correct was your sense of the approach? Can anyone share this kind of feeling? Because it will open doors that we are all sensitive. But do we learn to listen to it, or have we learned to listen to it? Have we learned how to analyze it? Or are those senses more put to sleep? And are we not so alert anymore to feel the other person without using verbal communication? Anybody has any experience in that matter?
It's Shandor here, if I may share some of my experiences.
Yes, please.
So usually we are so busy of thinking of everything. Our mind goes like a computer. It evaluates everything we see. And sometimes people who are looking too deep into the beauty of their own mind's pictures sometimes may walk even in a pole. But if somebody reaches to a calm when he can pacify his mind and he can just perceive without adding any additional evaluations of what he sees, eventually he will observe that which was always his own ability, but he has forgotten a long time ago. You see, you can feel intentions which are coming from the soul of others, and you can feel emotions. Emotions you can feel even stronger. An example. Once I was walking in a peaceful scenery in some rocky mountains, amongst rocks and bushes, and in one moment I had a sensation of a terrible fear. Just suddenly a terrible fear, almost to stop the heart. What was it? A rabbit just jumped out near my foot from a bush, and he was running away to escape. Of course, I smiled. I saw it's just a poor rabbit. I just came too close to him, and he was hiding. So I stepped just 20 centimeters near his hiding place, and suddenly he jumped out. And I felt that strong fear, not because of the noise made by the rabbit, but actually I understood at that moment that I was feeling the terror, the emotion, the fear emotion of the rabbit. Was afraid of a big body 10 times bigger than him or 20 times bigger and approaching suddenly. And I'm thinking here, when a lady gets so scared of a spider or a mouse, a little animal, just think about, whose fear is that? Is it your fear who got scared, who feel the sensation, or is it the emotion emanating from that small being who is terrified by a huge body being who can stomp it? So fear is a very strong emotion, so you can feel it easily. Sometimes it happened, walking on the street, I had a strange emotion, a strange feeling like anxiety. And I just thought, I'm not anxious. I have no reason to be anxious. I'm just walking on the street. And I looked around. Behind my back, it was somebody who was immediately changing his side to other direction, because it was probably a thief who tried to come and pickpocket me, and probably he was afraid that if I will observe, maybe he'll get in trouble. So sometimes just finding the source of the emotions perceived, it could save my life. About so in the same way you feel the emotions, the positive emotions of cheerfulness, of love, or of beauty. When you are in a concert and watching some fireworks and all the people following a nice music, you just can feel an amplified emotion which encompasses all of them. So it's again a communication just by the energies of the emotions. And also there is the communication through intention. Sometimes it happened to me that I'm sitting in my room here near the computer. I have an idea. I don't hear sounds or voices or words. Just I have the idea to go to the kitchen to fill a glass of water and to go into the next room where my wife is watching TV. And she says, "Oh, I was very thirsty. How did you know that?" I said, "I didn't know, just I had a feeling that I have to bring you some water." Or just some days ago, maybe 1 week ago, late in the evening, it was already dark outside. Well, I just had a walk together with my wife nearby, near my house. And at one place, we saw a cat, a nice black and white cat, young cat with shiny fur, well-maintained, healthy. And it was looking at us from about 15, 20 meters distance. And it was approaching. So my wife told, "Wow, let's see this cat, maybe she's hungry." So we approached the cat approached us. We understood he is lost, maybe somebody locked him out. And he was in a problem because it was thirsty, it was hungry. Just it was no need for words between us and the cat. And just I thought, and I also told his words, although the cat doesn't understand the words, but understands the feelings, understands the intentions. Wait a second, I'll go into this shop, probably they have some cat food. I bought a box of a tin of cat food, and on a piece of paper I could serve the cat, and the cat was very happy. So just be how to say, have attention to your feelings and to your emotions, and you will find out that maybe somebody tries to communicate with you. Or when you see a small kid, a toddler who cannot speak yet. It was the meeting with our grandson when he was small. Now he's almost 4 years. And I felt that the boy, it was 6 months, just has a feeling of not understanding why we don't understand him when he communicates clearly his thoughts, what he wants, what he wishes. So I went to him, I understood that the kid wanted, let's go here, let's go there, let's go higher, let's touch this one, let's see that one, to see what is in the room. Actually, you can feel that. Just you need to think less and to look more. So nobody has lost this one, but often we don't pay attention to these little feelings or signals. Try it once. So that was my word.
Thank you for sharing, Sander.
You're welcome.
It's those tiny little disconnecting with nature, with your fields, with your being, with your expression. Yes.
Sorry for interrupting you, if I'm allowed to interrupt you. About 20 years ago, I met a story in a magazine. I think it was somewhere in Australia. It was a farmer who had a piglet. And the piglet, it was kept like a pet. Where the man was walking, the piglet was following him. Like others keep a dog, for instance. And one day, the man went out to sow some wheat, and it was maybe 2 kilometers from his house. And he has fallen with his bicycle, and he broke his leg. He had an open wound. And he was bleeding, and he was helpless. The piglet was with him. And the piglet went away, went back to the farmhouse, and met the people. And people said, what this piglet wants. And the piglet was pushing and pushing the feet of the people until they understood to follow him. So the piglet could save the life of his friend by bringing help, bringing the humans near to the accidented man who could take care of him. So there are many such stories. Just keep an eye open and you will find some. So language shall not be a barrier to communication. Intention is more important, and attention.
Do any of you have any experience with the plant world that they communicate back? Because we have sufficient proof, even on scientific level, that trees are communicating. The plant world is always taking care of one another through communication, through vibration, through scent. By any means, they find a way to communicate. But as humans, how is anyone among you who can confirm this beautiful way of communicating? Rick, can you see if Snap is already coming?
Can I see what? Pardon me?
Snap from Taiwan.
Oh.
Because I know he works with, as he calls it, the tall people.
Snap Chen is in the attendees list.
Can you bring him forward? Snap, would you like to share some of your experience with that wonderful heart of this planet? Are you present, Snap?
He's in as a panelist right now.
Okay, I'll give you a moment.
I'll try unmuting and see if what we get there. Okay, I'm unmuting you, Snap. Hello? It's not coming through. Hello, Snap? Maybe he's not available at the other end. Hello.
Christy, maybe he has a difficult connection at this moment.
Okay, well, I think we'll have to try again later, perhaps.
Anybody else who has experience?
Hi, Caroline. Hi, everyone.
Hello. Who's speaking, please?
Hello. This is Paul.
Hello. Good evening, Paul.
Good evening. So I have something to share about communication. The way we learn to communicate with the rest of universe. And it is very simple. And the way is the way of vibration of energy. The border of communication between human and the rest of the universe, like we have been told, is the energy which is the border. Or there is a lot of things is how to learn to feel yourself. How to learn to feel the body. This was, or this is the first step. And from there, you have to start, or you have to study the different frequency that different organ of your body are generated at the same time. So, and when you start feeling that, now you need to interact because you are two parts. One part tangible, which is at the matter state, manifested like a body, and another part which is non-tangible, which is the soul. And one time Mr. Keshe was teaching us to move the fingers and then try to what you call, to feel the fingers at the level of the soul. And I want to confirm that it is at the same way. You need to localize every part of your body at the level of brain. And you need to learn how to generate from the matter state of your organ the same frequency which is equal to the frequency of the non-tangible organ which is manipulated. What did, or you want to communicate, you want to stabilize the communication between your right hand and feel it at your at the level of your soul. You need some input of a frequency that you have to manage to generate at the matter state or at the non-tangible state of the same organ. So if you take the right hand, you have two possibilities. If you know how to generate the energy with your hands, or you know how to raise the frequency of the hands until it becomes equal to the frequency of the same hand at non-tangible states, you will feel your right hands. And there is a lot of reality which can be open to us. For example, one reality is somebody call it, or someone call it third eye, but in reality is just like a mirror. when you manage and you start producing the frequency, and when you reach the middle, you will now start see the part of non-tangible of the same hand and the part of tangible of the same hands. And at this level now, you have the key to communicate or to modify your hands. It meaning that this is the point of entry or the system of programming or controlling of your hands. But you need to put some input. You need to generate energy for the same part that you need to communicate or to see with, until it become at the middle or at the until it become the same frequency. Matter state frequency should be equal to the frequency of non-tangible of the same organ. So from there, you can now start unify your body. Then you know how to communicate or to put your body in communication with your soul. So from diversity, from different organ, from generation or manipulation or raising of frequency of different organ, you become at the whole or at the high level where you can unify all the body, or you can produce the same frequency of the body, which should be equal to the frequency of your soul. And at this level, what you see, you will see yourself at the two parts. You will be sitting in the two worlds. The first world non-tangible and the second world tangible, but you can manipulate these two worlds. You can touch it, you can feel it, you can see it. And then from there, you got now the key to be able to communicate with the rest of the universe. What you need to do to be able to communicate with the rest of the universe is at the same, or it is the same thing. You need for every element in the universe to raise your vibration as one entity to get the same vibration as the entity you want to communicate or you want to see with. And at this level, you will start feel it is the plants. At this level, you can feel the plants. You can see the plant at two worlds, one part intangible and one part in non-tangible. And you can communicate really with the plants. You can see what he needs, what is his feeling, how he lives his life. You can communicate. The system of communication, or at the moment you manage yourself to become equal to the entity you want to communicate with. And the main important things is raise of vibration of energy, raise of frequency. And sometimes from some kind or some type of entities, you need to decrease your energy to be able to feel them, to be able to get the same energy as them. But you need to be the master of increasing and decreasing energy from your body to your soul, and from your soul to your body. And then from there to the rest of the universe. As this way, you can feel any type of element in the universe. You can see any type of element in the universe, tangible or non tangible, invisible or non or visible. You can see everything. But it takes a lot of time and a lot of work. And you need to start with yourself. You need to start with your environment. You need to really sacrifice yourself to be able to feel the energy around you. And this needs a lot of concentration. It's just like a meditation, but it is not meditation, because here you have some tool. You start moving some part of your body until you generate the frequency that you need. And when you generate the frequency that you need to be able to operate in the two worlds, in the world of non-tangible and in the world of matter state, you will see that it is like the sky is open, and you can feel, you can see everything double, and you will see that when you start feeling or you start vibration, it gives order to modify what you need. It meaning that when you are sitting or when you manage to reach this level, you can modify your hands. You can modify your head. You can modify your leg. You can modify the stone. You can modify the body of plants, anything in the universe. But again and again, it needs a lot of work, and it needs a lot of practice. It needs a lot of concentration. And it starts with yourself. You have to start with yourself, because you are going to operate in the universe with the rest of the universe. You are going to communicate with the rest of the universe. But how you should do this? You need to understand, and you need to be in communication with yourself. Why? Because the different parts of your body should become the different line of communication between you and the rest of entities. It means that if, for example, you didn't handle, for example, the energy coming in and coming out from, for example, the right leg, it means that when you start communicate with the rest of entity in the universe, if some energy is coming, or if some communication we should be not able to detect, and we communicate with ourselves, and then from there unify the communication line with our body to our soul, and then from our soul we can now dictate the frequency we need for our body to be the same as the one of the soul. In this situation, we get one entity operating with the same frequency so that we are able to feel the same thing around the rest of the body. And then from there, now we open the communication with the rest of the universe as one entity. And this is the way, and I was mentioning the mirror system. I see we make a lot of practice about the mirror system to see ourselves. This was for me the external tool. Now we need to come in the internal mirror, and the internal mirror we get is sitting at the middle of the same frequency of the energy of our body and the soul, and the energy of the different organ, and the same energy of the same organ at the level of soul. We have mirror in us, and this mirror can open with us the universe. And you need to start see this mirror. You need to start see yourself in this mirror part by part until finish, and then you get the big mirror to see the rest of the universe. And this is essentially energy level. This is essentially frequency production and frequency what you call manipulation. We need to become the master of manipulation of energy from us to the rest of the universe, and from the rest of the universe to us. The key of everything, the key of manipulation, or the key of communication, the key of modification, the key of manifestation of everything is
Paul, I will interrupt you there, please, because you do not need to use the word manipulation, because manipulating is enforcing your fields upon to somebody else. And this cannot be. This is not the natural flow of the energy, darling.
Sorry, this is the problem of language. I just used I just used the word I have around me, and you know, I am not native of English.
I know.
I just want to say interaction.
That will be a better understanding. Yeah. Thank you.
Interaction. Yeah. So I want to mean when I say interaction between you and the rest of the universe. We need to interact, and in interaction way we can communicate with the rest. In interaction way we can give to the rest what they need, and we can take what we need. It's just the platform of energy.
I think if you would change the word,
this is what
if you would change the word manipulation to your intent, I think you will be more to the point.
Yes, we change manipulation by interaction, because it is when you see the system is that the other entity has his energy, and we need to become at the point that we can feel the energy of this entity, and this is interaction, because we cannot take the energy of this entity. We can only interact with this entity by energy.
Thank you very much, Paul, for your contribution. And as we are just one field walking, it just has the boundary of the body, the skin, which is functioning like a shell. Organs don't matter. It is your functionality in the physicality. It is just to function in this environment. But if you have understood the explanations of Mr. Keshe in his teachings, you are in a gang state. The boundary is only your skin, which is like functioning to keep the energies and the mass of the GANs in a containment. So your interaction comes totally by your intent. That's why you also physically can change and send signals, as Rick was explaining. When the man reached his hand out, the horse didn't hear so much what he was saying, but by coming so close to the hand, he could pick up the real intent of the human being. So it is the fields which are interacting one with another. It doesn't matter if it's an animal. And there was a very nice note. I just read it in, because when I'm listening to you, I go to the chat room, and then there is something very nice from, I think it's Violet. She says, plants are like animals and all things. They communicate, we need to notice. My dad would take a tree for a walk if it was unhappy. I recall him moving a tree that was suffering. After it was relocated, it did very well. Light, love, and peace. So people do put their hands, but that's only the physical matter. But it's to connect with what they feel, which goes on inside, which is the soul and the energy level. When a tree is not happy, it will not grow tall, it will let its leaves hang down, it will discolor the leaves. It shows there is something wrong. And sometimes his neighboring friends cannot help him because he's just maybe in the wrong position. He can't receive sufficient light or sufficient water. And then there is another person who said, I have some information I can share, and I think it is, but I have a very small screen, so just give me 1 minute. I think it comes right under Violet or above. Hassan Halal, if I pronounce your name correctly, you said that you have some experience with plants to share. Can you please step forward and share it with us, please? If it is possible, we can promote you somewhere.
Yes, I promoted them to panelists, so they should be able to speak now.
Thank you.
Hello, Hassan. I'll unmute them. Okay, there you go.
Yeah, hello?
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Yes, sure. We can hear you, sir. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good afternoon for everybody. I would like to thank you for everything that what you're making, all the share, the love you're giving to us. I'm involved in Keshe Foundation not so far long, maybe 6 months ago. I met you by, I cannot say by hazard, but I was asking myself this word, how is it going? Not the good way. So I thank you all for this discovering. And the thing I wanted to share about plants, the plant world, I was used to live in a city, but 1 month ago I moved to a greener place, no electricity in the zone, lots of trees, lots of birds. And And yeah, every day I try to connect. Maybe I have, before I talk about plants, I have one small experience to share about one animal, one small chameleon. I was like with two friends, and I wished to see a chameleon so that they can touch it, they can see it. And we go for a small walk, and 10 minutes later, we met a chameleon. So I catched it slowly, and then it was like, oh. And the surprise is that the connection, the synchronization you was talking about, Caroline, I think 2 teachings ago, it's happening. But for plants, it's harder for me. But sometimes I'm like trying by heart to talk to plants, to ask them to show me something. And maybe it's not a real experience, but sometimes I feel all the trees, they're not moving, and one is moving. So I'm like, yeah, or sometimes I listen to reggae music or slow music, and I feel one of the branches moving, but I'm not always sure that they're communicating. I was not sure they were communicating maybe 6 months ago, but now with the teachings and with respect to all beings, I feel things come in little by little. So that's what I had to share about plants. Yes, one night, another small one. One night I was like focusing on a small plant, and I was like, move, tell me something. And the plant was moving, but I was like, I wondered, was it the wind? Was it the plant? So but I was focusing on that plant, the only plant, that small plant. And when I looked around me, I noticed that there was wind, but all the plants was not moving, like they were telling me, look, we are all interacting with you. It's not the only one who is interacting with you. All the plants were like fixed. They were not moving, and the only one who was moving is the one which was in front of me. So, but the other one were showing me that, look, we all do not move. It's like they were telling me, you were forgetting us. You have forgotten us. You're focusing on that one, but we're showing you the whole. We're showing you that we are all interacting with you. That's what I had to share about plants. And thank you very much.
This is beautiful. Thank you for sharing. And I know there are a lot more knowledge seekers and council members which have this kind of specific, that they can share their experience because it stands out beyond the normality, that you get a clear signal. And you pointed it out very correctly. You have forgotten about us in so many ways, as Sander said too. We don't go quiet enough with ourselves to pick up the communication with whatever and whoever is around us. The people which are called shamans and Indian, they have stayed very close to their environment, and they can share so many wonderful stories, animals, plants, even the environment, the weather, the grass, the harvest. But the beautiful thing is that they are very grateful. They thank, and they make sure they put attention before they will take or receive. And I wish that there are more knowledge seekers that can come forward with these, because that's how we will start remembering and pick up and start noticing, by awakening these senses to start communicating with ourselves again, with our environment. Anybody else has nice experiences to come and share with us, please?
Maybe I can share another small thing.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, it's a little story about even synchronization you were talking about. It builds little by little. But the thing that I want to say is when I stopped to eat living, I took the decision 2 months ago to stop eating living beings, or more animal than plants. But I try my best not to kill a plant to eat from it, like fruit and vegetables more than everything. And it's since that time I feel more and more the connection with all beings. But the thing I wanted to share is sometime I made a dream about something who's gonna happen, good or bad thing. I had to take it happen, but two days later, I see the stuff. I see the thing happening, and it's I don't know how to explain it. But it's like a connection from the Creator. Like my soul is how can I say it? Like my soul is trying to help me. It's trying to show me things. It's like I was living with my brother, and I made that my stuff had been moved. A member of the family called me and tell me that your things have been moved from the house, and I was like, no problem. I knew it. I dreamed about it, and I thank God to show me things like that. So I'm happy. I think that I'm on a good way for synchronization. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else, please?
Yes, this is Justin. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you repeat your name, please?
Yes, Justin.
Justin, hi, good evening.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about the animals and the way that they interact with their emotions and soul. It's often seen that they will bow their heads and touch their heads to get their physical body as close as possible by trying to get their souls closer to each other to express their love. They will rub their faces. They do it to our legs. They do it to each other. And since they're not really able to verbally talk, this is their way of pushing out their love, really. It's often seen where an animal that hasn't seen its maybe caretaker for a long time will come running and jump on that person. And
Justin, can I just stop you right there? Can you come closer to your mic, please? It's really drowned out, having a hard time understanding you.
okay, let me see if I can change the settings. Okay, is that better?
Not really. I can hear your mouse clicks really good. Is it possible you can come a little bit closer to the mic?
Let me see if I can put a headset in. Is this better?
Try again, please.
Is this better?
I think you need to change your mic settings on Zoom. There's an up arrow beside the mute button, and then you can choose your microphone.
Testing. Okay, I have a really horrible computer at this point.
Okay, we can just deal with it. Sorry, I'll just try to listen a little bit harder and turn on my speakers.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so with the animal kingdom, we usually observe that they will bow their heads, sometimes close their eyes, and try to rub their heads together by getting their physical body as close as possible to whoever they are trying to express their love and compassion for. Like with a caretaker, we've often seen that the animals will come running to a caretaker they haven't seen for quite a long time and jump on them, maybe even hug them. I've seen it with lions, bears, bobcats in many videos, but often, like with the cats especially, they will come up and rub their heads on our legs, and they do bow their heads and kind of rub their heads on our legs, trying to express compassion and love. In many aspects, since they can't verbally, my computer's locking up.
Hello, we can hear you.
Okay.
You're coming through very good. Don't worry.
Okay, thanks. So my understanding is that since they cannot verbally communicate, they try to push out their intention the easiest way they know how, and that's with just their physical being pushing themselves close by, again, with the head rubbing, the circling of their body, trying to rub up on each other. And if we are able to at least be responsive to that, they will allow us even to bow our heads and touch our foreheads to their foreheads. And you can see, I can feel that they are very well receiving what we're trying to push back. I mean, a lot of times they do hear our words and may not completely understand them, but if our intention is pure and wishing to let them feel that we're in communication, that we are trying to love back, they're very, very responsive to that. That's all.
Thank you very much, Justin. Somebody just made a very nice remark. Vernie Gloria, your last post was, when we start doing communication with plants or animals, you're very correct, darling. We have to remove any barriers like doubts. Plants and animals are always open. It's only us who put out the energy barriers as a result of disinformation. And I think this is exactly what Justin just wanted to comment to explain as well. So we are all on more or less on the same understanding that it's our apprehension or fear or not really trusting ourselves that we can do. And I think the ones which have shown the reaction from trees or plants or animals, they are the ones which have most probably brought down that barrier of not trusting, which can give you really a good insight that when you trust yourself, they will trust you for what you will give, for what you will provide them with. And as somebody, Fernie says again, verbal communication is not really necessary to connect with plants and animals because it's through your heart, it's through your intent. They are aware of how you will approach them, if you're going to harm them, you're going to hurt them. And I do appreciate all your postings here. I cannot, unfortunately, not see what the other people are posting somewhere else. Maybe Rick can go and have a look somewhere, or whoever is in charge of the other chat rooms, because people start recognizing you don't need to even to talk to have a communication line open with any of the beings. or it's a cat or your dog or your, it is really your field intent, which will create this marvelous communication. And if we move away from, let's say, the plants and the animals, and you concentrate on your, let's say, your next door neighbor, I think we communicate as humans the same way. As we have built up so much distrust towards each other. Have you ever noticed, because I was wondering, you know, when you go in a busy shopping street, just for a walk, not even for shopping, just take notice that people are walking beside and passing each other. They don't even say hello to each other. It's like you don't exist. They're like in their bubble, as we said last time, Rick. Bubbles and bubbles and bubbles with bubbles, which was brought very nicely forward last time. But actually, it is true. They're walking in bubbles. And the bubble is so tight that even when they pass you, you don't receive a glimpse of, you know, hello or how are you. There is such a field of distrust. But where has this come from? How can we undo this kind of feeling that we are not easy with each other anymore? Anybody, any suggestions? Have you noticed the same path wherever you walk on, except when they all go for one target, you know, like for a concert, for the same type of music, with the same intent to go and have pleasure, then the atmosphere is different. Then people are more aware of each other's fields, they're closer to each other, but it's always in a very pleasant, sharing way. But why and how can we share and change this kind of way of communication when we are just passing each other by? Doesn't matter where we are. Anybody, any suggestions how we can change that level of not being walking in a bubble or a cocoon? Rick, maybe any suggestions?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is it's not just the pleasant situations where people come together and bond with each other that way, because we could see it in even a wartime situation in an army, for example. They encourage the members of an army to bond together, and that's part of what happens in that stressful situation. I think that one thing that happens is a stressful situation can open people up. For example, take the flooding in Houston with the hurricane that's happened recently. That's a very stressful situation. People losing everything they own and sometimes their lives, but not that many lives have been lost considering the amount of destruction that's taken place and so on. That people are helping each other. They're going out and helping their neighbors. There's people that have drove from Canada all the way down to Texas with their machinery to be able to drive in the water, or boats and special trucks and so on. And everybody's bonding together to help each other, and they are a lot more open in that situation to help from others and to help others. So there's a couple of situations where there is that bonding that takes place, both in a wartime situation or in a disaster. Like you mentioned, a concert is a great way for people to open up and become more involved with those around them. They accept those around them and probably want to interact with them, don't mind talking to them to the person sitting beside them in the concert, for example, whereas normally maybe they wouldn't if they were in a busy bus stop or something and they were trying to get to work or some other thing. So one way to look at it is our when we're walking down the street, like you said, and maybe you don't even make eye contact with someone else that's, you know, even on your same sidewalk walking toward you. In the city, it's common that people don't make eye contact and they don't say hi to each other because everyone is in their own bubble, like you're saying, Caroline. So this bubble that we're in, especially in an urban situation, in a city where people tend to be going from point A to point B, and you want to get there as quickly as possible. You're behind in your schedule and you've got things to do and you got to be at work or whatever. There's this busyness involved. There's this busy brain activity that's involved. And if you were to look at the brain scan of the people walking down the street, you would find they were likely quite involved in their own busy brain activity. They're probably not looking at the plants and flowers and details of the environment around them so much. They're busy in their busy brain inside their head, planning for the day, thinking, oh, did I lock the door in the house when I went out today? Or, gee, is the boss going to be mad at me when I go to work, when I get in work? And all these very important thoughts are bouncing around in people's heads, but it's all inside the bubble, that, if we call it that. So in a sense, that person is asleep to their environment, asleep to the possibilities of interacting with others. And in spite of they might be very active in their own mind at that time, but it's of a frequency. And if you look at it, it'll be more in the beta. We have four main brainwave frequencies, for example, the beta, alpha, theta, and delta. And when people are busy in their brains, it's usually the beta brainwave activity is going off the charts. And that's the higher frequencies, but it's the lower frequencies are closer to the soul level of, you know, maybe the theta brainwave frequency, or the alpha would be more in the loving and openness in brainwave frequencies. So what is it about when we get into that bubble and we're busy doing our own thing, but we don't really interact with others? We're not open to those opportunities when they come up. That's a different state than the state of, say, unconditional love, or, you know, tolerance and acceptance, and being totally open in that moment. So there seems to be different states that humans fall into.
Is it also not more a way of culture, Rick? Because I have noticed in Austria that it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter where you are, you get from each single person a hello. They don't know you, you're a stranger. And to us, sometimes it's a wake-up call, but I think it's embedded in the culture. And I think parents are the best example of cultural behavior. And I would like to have more people sharing if they have been taught from children onwards that they should greet people no matter where they are and no matter how they are. And in how many different countries does this take place, or in how many languages is this a normal way to behave? I can tell you, we are quite friendly, or where I come, we are quite friendly, but It is extremely pleasant when you wander through Austria, because you get from each person, doesn't matter on the street, passing, walking, when they come across you, they say hello to you.
Okay,
Anybody?
is that true, Caroline, in the large cities as well?
Yeah.
Like you're
Yes.
talking about a large city and you're walking down the sidewalk and people will make eye contact or might say something or at least say, you know,
Here, yes, they
nice
don't.
day, isn't it, or something?
No, they here it is. It's a cultural way. They, even if they don't say hello, they give you, you know, like a nodding with the head. You know, like
An acknowledgement, they call it.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, yes. Which is really surprising me, because it happens everywhere. I mean, it happens in Austria, and it is not among, you know, like when you go to airports, then when they're not Austrian, you don't notice it, because strange people do not greet each other. So I think it is very cultural. From when I was here months ago, I noticed it. And it keeps on happening.
Something I thought about recently, and now that you brought this up, we're in the, at least the North American culture, and I expect and believe in most cultures of the world, at least in some of the more developed areas, is we're taught at a very young age, never talk to strangers. Don't talk to strangers. You know, this is the thing that the parents are really concerned that the child's out there. There might be some child molester or somebody that's got a, you know, a bad intention, and we feel like we have to protect our children by telling them, you know, never talk to strangers, never get in a stranger's car, never, you know, when a stranger approaches you on the street, just try to walk to the other side or run away and don't let them touch you, and, you know, all this kind of thing. So we get this very paranoid kind of orientation when we're quite young, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm glad I was taught not to talk to strangers and get into, you know, strange cars and that's kind of thing. That's because I was approached as a child a few times by strangers that had ill intentions. So we're brought up, at least in the culture I know in North America, I bet every mother tells that to their child. Do not talk to strangers. And it's only later that we learn, well, geez, the last 500 times I talked to strangers, it was actually a good experience. So maybe it's kind of okay to talk to strangers. And we start to open up and we go out into the world, and we go to Europe, and, you know, we talk to strangers, and especially in Austria, because they're really friendly strangers and so on. So we have to relearn to open up again, because we shut off to strangers. For one is the danger argument, which is, you know, instilled in the kids especially, but also it's the I'm too busy to talk to anybody right now mentality, where we get so enmeshed in, usually it's work. You have to go to work, and, you know, if you're in a lineup and you have to get something and you have to get to work, then you've got a mission. You have to be to work on time, and if you are a few minutes late, most workplaces, it's a big deal, and it puts pressure on people. They don't want to, you know, take the time to listen to someone's story of their life for 5 or 10 minutes on, you know, after they get off the bus. They're busy getting to work. And that mentality and all the busy brain stuff involved with that gets us stuck in our bubble, you might say. As do putting up the buffers of never talk to strangers. That's that's a bubble that definitely goes up, and it's a tough bubble to crack. I mean, even people with family might have kids talking to them. The kids never met their uncle or something. They might be kind of scared because it's so ingrained into them to just don't open up to strangers, sort of thing. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I do understand, Rick, because we have copied a lot from a lot of things which it's getting incited. And I think we have to teach our children to be and carry the awareness the same way I was trying to bring the awareness towards our nature and our animals, that they can sense, but we have to wake them up. Even adults, we can wake them up. That they can read if something is approaching them. And this is what this gentleman brought forward. Synchronizing is not only by things happening around you. It is by connecting with your true fields of awareness, because you have it. You carry it all within you. But because of these fear factors, they have been put to sleep or they have been disabled. And I think these kind of topics in these kind of public teachings bring and open doors and windows to, it's time for us to reassess how we will function in the world. Because as we are working for one nation, one world, one peace, I think we're going to have to start by understanding how we can readjust ourselves. Because the best advice I would give to a lot of people, throw your televisions in the bin, because they bring an awareness that is not existing in your neighborhood, not necessarily. And with feeding and responding to this kind of messages, we increase our fields of protection, defense, instead of listening to our true being, who we really define, who we want to be and need to be. And our fear gets passed on to our children and our next generations. And I think there is a learning pattern here. Still stay safe within the lines, but trust yourself, not trust what is given to all of us, especially through the news channels. As we have found out, a lot of it is really fabricated or diverting the attention to create chaos more. I have not seen many news channels bringing positive news, really happy news. It's a two-way cutting knife. But I think if we learn where the blades are on the knife, I think we can balance ourselves and make the decisions and create the path where we want to go. And if we as adults understand exactly all these topics which have passed over today, I think we can start realizing to find a more defined balance that we can teach our children to be aware in a different way. Anybody, any adding to this knowledge? Or
I'll contribute.
Thank you.
Rick from Colorado, friends to the bees. I know we got a little off track here. We're going to talk about animals, but I used to own a hair salon, and I had a lot of people that worked with me. And my only rule was respect everybody who came through the door. And it seems like such a simple task, but a big part of that is acknowledging every human being who's standing in front of you. And a lot of my hairstylists really, appreciated that. And I maybe were artists and tend to be sensitive. But a few of my hairstylists that I noticed from the East Coast of the United States especially thought that it was intrusive. And they didn't like it when people walking down the street would say hi or hello, because it made them feel like, what do you want from me? You know what I mean? And that seems so foreign to me. But we're talking about culture and American culture or world culture. But what about the culture we create around ourselves and in our spaces? And so at my salon, I think initially it's really fun to see people's reactions when you do acknowledge them. Even just a simple hello catches people off guard. But my business turned out to be very successful, and the only rule was respect and treating people with dignity and acknowledging that they're alive. And I think that created, I don't know, it's just amazing how we can create an atmosphere all our own. And people can change, especially for loving ways and opening up, and, you know, by being willing to just say hello, the gifts that can come back to you from people you don't expect. And that's a direct correlation with our energy, whether it's, you know, certain waves or your intention on, it doesn't even have to be specific necessarily.
You are more than correct, sir. And these are the topics which are coming up in the meetings. Respect. What is respect? Acceptance, no matter how, what, where, who. Respect is so something. It's not just respect on the table or when you receive or when you give something. It is, as you say, it's a totality of behavior. It's a totality of defining no borders in how you behave in respect towards one another. And I think we can extend this to the same way to animals, to plants. And you brought it very beautiful in its totality. One rule, no matter what, we are always respectful. And I know it sounds odd when you say, you know, people go spooky when you say hello, because this is exactly the point. What I notice when they're walking on the, it's not so much as, it's part, what Rick said, you know, they're in a bubble, one side is switched off and the other side is active. Mm-hmm. But it's more from a point of view, what do you want from me? Or you're going to take something.
Yes.
I might owe you something if I say even hello back to you, which is very abnormal. But how can we unplug this behavior? And I don't mean just locally, but if we see how many knowledge seekers we have, what can we do from our point of view to already start changing this kind of position? I'm trying to find ways how to do it, because a lot of people are aware of this problem, but they don't know how to unlock it.
Well, you've mentioned a couple of things already in terms of if you're walking down the sidewalk and you see someone else coming, instead of just staring at the sidewalk, you might want to look them in the eye and smile, or just acknowledge, or just be present while they go by, and just in your full presence. And that's kind of rubs off, I think, and creates the space for others to open up more, allows the opportunity for them, and eventually they may see the opportunity if it's welcoming to them.
It was not only that, Rick. I'm trying to find the connection, how to undo the fears that are going to lose something because they don't seem to be able to even just to say a hello back. It's a fear point of view, as the gentleman who just brought it forward. They're scared they're going to lose something.
Mm-hmm.
So more playful in it? I'm not sure. I mean, that is a really good question, how you get somebody to expand and open up.
This
without...
is MOSFET. Can I speak about this?
Sure, MOSFET, go ahead.
Okay, I think you couldn't hear me better, well, before. So one thing Rick was pointing out early on is that during Hurricane Harvey, a lot of people are helping each other, and they're even driving from Canada to help people there. Now, one of the things that's noticeable is that the fear factor that we normally encounter in our day-to-day lives has been changed by the nature, by introducing the storm in our life. And so the bubble that we had before is no longer there. So the environment or the condition of the field is different now. And because of this condition where the fear factor, the sort of the petty fear factor has been driven out by a new condition where there sort of like greater fear in a way. So a change of condition is really that helping us here in coming together. So we can, in a way, by signing this one world, one nation, one planet, one race peace treaty, we are moving in that direction in terms of creating this environment. And much like we have to be sensitive to the animals and the plants, we have to be sensitive to what the planet itself is telling by creating such storms. We have Hurricane Harvey. And a similar situation has happened in the Himalayan region where I am. This is a very large area that's being flooded right now. And the death toll right now in Nepal, India, and Bangladesh is about 1,200 people. I hear a similar thing is happening in China, which is, I hear about more than 200 people. So these situations are happening. And I'm expecting the Canadians to show up in a truck here very, very soon. So this kind of cooperation can happen. People from other parts of the world and everywhere, locally, globally, can help each other. And the nature or the planet itself is telling us, guys, you need to move away from your little bubble and help each other. So what do we do? I mean, in order to change this situation. As Keshe Foundation, can we do something here with our technology or other things? It's a global phenomena, this hurricane situation. I hear there is another one forming in the East Coast of the United States. So there is a lot of opportunity for us to cooperate beyond our small world. And just like listening to the plants and animals, we can also listen to the planet coming together in peace. So my question is, yes, there are opportunities all around us. We have to use it. And as Universal Council, Earth Council, core team, the Keshe Foundation supporters, and people everywhere, what can we do with what we have or what we are creating to improve this situation? Or can we use this to cooperate, understand everybody? And first we start with ourselves, which we are still far away from developing a good understanding of each other's need. So what can we do to get these cooperation going? Yes, we have the situation, which is breaking the bubble, and we have a new environment. some because of the planet and some because of the technology and other things we are offering. So how can we bring these two things, the planetary notice and our skills and new resources that we have? Any thoughts?
I think Rick has already brought, as you as well, Moshfaq, I think you already brought a lot of what is happening around Houston and Texas and all the areas which are around, which are suffering. And thanks God, it's more building damage and structural damage than actually loss of lives. But why can human beings not be more without having to face this kind of disasters? Why does it need that kind of adrenaline of compassion and caring and feeling the need to be able to come and make the difference by giving a hand, driving special trucks to get through the water? Why do human beings need this kind of extremes for them to show the goodness inside them, which is present in every single human being? Why can't we ignite in a different way than going through this kind of horrible situations? That's what I was trying to find out. How can we ignite more people to be so generous, to be so selfish, to step so forward, to reach the hand, to bring whatever they have, to sacrifice so much, but only when other people, they notice their suffering? How can we turn the table around and ignite this without these horrible situations? That should be a topic that we could expand on. How can we ignite that fire inside without having to have an example of something horrifying? That it comes so spontaneously without the necessity of these kind of big dramas.
Perhaps we could hear from Estella. She's been trying to get onto the Zoom here for the last half hour or so from live stream and had something that was relevant, I think, to say. Maybe that would be a clue for us. Estella, are you there? Would you like to speak now? What I'll do is I'll unmute your microphone so you can speak.
Okay.
Go ahead. We can hear you now.
Good morning, everybody. This is Estela from California. Actually, I've been experiencing since young, understanding, being so sensitive with the body. And I call the body because it's almost like I can feel things without thinking. It's like having two channels. One thing is when your brain is talking to you, and another thing is when your information is coming without, your brain is blank and information comes to you through almost your body, I call it. And it's like I'm not thinking with my head, I'm thinking with my body. And this has been a journey for a lot of years of trying to understand why, what was it, why I was so sensitive or get so anxious, stressed, and how Dr. Keshe said the emotional body is the key in order to learn how to relax and how to breathe and how to be more aware of what is your surrounding. And this cannot be reached with your head. You have to really learn when are you relaxed, how you how you're able to connect even to your garden or to your own bedroom and to the smells and to the lighting and the materials and the colors, because everything is vibration. So basically all your senses allows you to connect, I call it tuning in, and then you know, and then you're gonna feel if you're relaxed, if you're compressed, if you're expanded. And with this same experimentation I've been doing, I also start to kind of do yoga, tai chi, all different kind of martial arts, and Zen, and hugging trees, and I see the animals, the eyes, pretty much, they tell you everything. You can look at the dog, and sorry, I'm in a conference call. Sorry, someone came into the room. And so I have my neighbor's dog. They usually come and they have slumber parties with my dogs, and it's kind of funny. And my neighbors come to the front door and stand up like a British guy, waiting until I open the door. He's very polite, the dog, and come in and sleep with us here in the house. And it's kind of funny. I have plants that I kind of know they want water, and they improve the fruit from having really dry fruit. Now we have juicy apples. I have another plant that I use also binaural music. I use sound frequency in my garden, and I notice a change. I use it myself because I kind of hard sometimes to get into that level of relaxation. So I use music as a way of blending with this classical piano, violin, or Native American music, or anything. I'm open to how it feels and makes me, like I said, compression or expansion. And I call it expansion is the good one because it helps myself like reaching out my field, expanding and blending. Another example of the field, if I used to live in LA and I was a salesperson driving like a lot of time in the freeway, and I experienced what this gentleman was saying, the people's attitude. And sometimes with the breathing, I exhale, and my cars around me move away, like almost my field expand. And sometimes in a hurry for a meeting, I kind of, with my mind politely, I tell the guy in front of me, please, could you move on the right? I need to go. And usually that trick works, but you have to be in that sense of like, your intention is a good intention with respect, with integrity. You're not abusing, you're not taking, you're not pushing. It's like, with a nice, a fair exchange, you're communicating with honor. And so I can experiment without having too much technology or education, by mentoring someone. Mentoring means I've been doing all this learning, experiencing, exploring, that's the wording. And actually a week ago, I have a mantis insect who out of nowhere came at 1 o'clock in the morning when I was working. And he sat on my keyboard and he started to look at me, and I keep working, and I talked to him, said, well, what do you want? You want to talk to me? And it really scared me because he really looked at me, he was communicating, and I couldn't get what he was trying to say, but he was presenting himself for a long time. And I guess, that's going to come later, but the feel exists. And the last thing I'm going to say is it's important also to protect yourself, to trust yourself. That's number key: trust, self-love, allowance, respect to others. And it's like a music, has to be like a harmony And then when you're in that harmony, you're able to tune it up. That's why the emotional body has to be completely calm, no brain, because usually the logical thinking doesn't let you connect. You have to be like in completely, relax your thinking. You look at the leaves, you look at the sun and see what the universe is telling you, because the universe, the field is consistently giving you information and you can see the clues, but you have to look at it and you start to see what is showing to you. That's it. Is anybody there?
Yeah, we hear you. Thank you, Estella. That was great.
Yeah, it's exploring but exploring open heart, like, with love and feeling and see what you encounter, because you cannot tune into the field with the rational mind. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. You have to be like in grace, like in happy that you're alive in the moment, and the feel is you, and then you're dancing. It's like a dance because you are enjoying being in that feel. Because the moment you're sad or you're stressed and all that, the emotional body pulls you away from that moment, and you're in your brain and the story and the program and the fear and all the stuff that we have to clear and let it go, to be always in the moment and the flow, because it's a music, it's sound. Vibration is sound, and we need to see the field like a concert hall, and every little piece of the field is a note and the whole composition, and you're the director. You're like there tuning in and asking the plant or looking at the tree. The tree gets alive when you look at them. So yeah, I think that's the way I can express it, how I see it.
Okay,
thank you very much. Yeah, thank you. Rick, how far are we in the teaching, please?
We're at almost 2.5 hours into it.
Okay. Anybody, any more sharing?
There's a couple of more people with their hands up here. I can promote them to see what they have to say.
Yes, please.
Okay, we have B-Boat Eng. I forget who that is. If you want to go ahead, I'll unmute your microphone.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, hello, go ahead. Say who you are and where you're from.
Hello, Rick, this is Bono.
Hello.
Greetings to everybody. Thank you, Caroline, for what you're doing for humanity. I just wanted to contribute this. I'm one of the people like Rick. It was drilled in me as a child to not to talk to strangers. I'm glad I wasn't the only one. But then at the same time, I noticed that, the adults, just freely talked among themselves. So I'm sure it had to do with their concern for my safety and the fact that I was not in a position to protect myself if somebody meant harm. At the same time, I was, taught to respect my elders as well. So even the people that I knew, if they wanted me to do something or wanted to send me on an errand, I had to go to my parents and ask for permission so they know or they knew what I was doing and who was asking that of me. So it goes back to the same thing. You know, my security was their concern. The interesting thing was I found myself one time as a kid, probably maybe 4 or 5 years old. I was lost in a very big marketplace. I'd gone there with an adult, and somehow I became separated. So I found myself just crying and screaming, and this stranger came up to me and started talking to me, and I guess at that point I forgot all about what I'd been instructed, and so I started answering their questions, and I was quite far away from home, but this stranger found a way to take me home. So I guess depending on the environment or the circumstance, we act and respond accordingly. From what I've learned from the teaching so far, it seems to me the solution has to do with the environment where we find ourselves in, the environment we create. And when we find ourselves with elevated souls, all of us in that environment, I think we would, it would be the answer to this question that you're raising. But we have to get there, where we all have elevated souls. We're learning how to do that. And not all of us on this planet have even the opportunity to understand what the soul is all about. So those of us who are privy to or privileged to have this knowledge at this point, we have a tremendous opportunity to start giving and giving and giving of our souls. Every person we meet, every place we find ourselves in. The good thing is the more you give, the more you receive. But the pleasant smile, the greeting, the hello, the reaching out is leading by example. And until we can come to the place where we have basically turned the tide around what's going on this planet, that's what we have to do. We can feel safe doing this because we know we have the power within us. I'm talking about the soul now, and perhaps that should rub off on other people that we come in contact with. That's all I wanted to share. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. We had another attendee that came in. Let's see. And we had a Rick, I'm not sure if he had a chance to speak, Rick Newcomb. There was Dean Hansen, I believe is the name. Dean, would you like to talk? You have your hand up there. I'll unmute you so you can speak. Hello?
Hello, can I be heard?
Yes, hello there.
Good day. I am present, Dean Michael Hansen, and I have a desire and I have something to give in the agricultural and manufacturing sectors. I am so glad that these questions are being asked at this time because I believe I have many answers, and those answers come from the earth and the giving of the earth and interaction of mankind using the power of fungus as well as the power of the ability of the earth to take carbon and uptake it. I have technology right now that is available that I'm working on putting out that will produce 70 cubic yards of bioremediation material per day, and it can be scaled up quickly. The substrate that is created through the mechanization is coming in at about $30 a ton using current technologies. the substrate increases the growth of plants by about 50%. That's part of it. Now, I am here and I would like to work with the Keshe Foundation with the agriculture. Now, let me tell you a story and then I'll end with the desire. Yesterday, no, excuse me, on Saturday in California, I was up at a little lake that I have been visiting for over 40 years. And I've had a relationship with the plants and the trees because I've seen them grow and I've seen the cycles and I've taken and I've been an observer of nature and the forests have talked to me and the animals have talked to me. And I see what the destruction has been and I saw it coming such a long time ago. And I've been one of those people who both saw and then spoke forth solutions. And not theoretical solutions because it's already been tried, proven, and things have, you know, what would you call it? Peer-reviewed studies. Otherwise, you know, we work on the cutting edge of technology as far as what can be done, but then we also take the history, what we've seen that has worked as far as how systems work. Anyway, I'm going to just say the desire, and then I'm glad that this is opened up because I am part of the solution and technologies that I have are part of the solution, and the combination of the technologies that have been being developed by the mind of the Keshe Foundation, which is a collective on an international basis.
Dean, is it possible to control the dog there? It's getting hard to hear.
Okay. Let me see if I can. Thank you very much for, thank you, Rudy, for your service and allowing the people to know that you're here in order to test. No, that's enough, Rudy. Now you go away. I will have some information that will be coming to the Keshe Foundation and the agricultural so that we can interface. And a lot of the answers, I believe, lie in systems that take care of mankind, because I'm not even beginning to believe that at this moment mankind can be awakened, or does he need to be? I feel that systems need to be in place outside of the mind control that has been here that allow people to come together and sit together and to eat together and to have music and arts and the rest of the things. And there are ways by mining those things which were considered a waste into things that are healing and can be tuned to frequencies and in building materials, etc. And rather than working, see, I don't work well with fiction, okay? And money is a fiction and numbers are a theory. Therefore, I like to be able to take into the ground and into the ether and draw out of it the actual substance that takes care of the animals, remediates the earth, feeds the people. And because it is taking and healing and reallocating things like salts and carbon into either inert or, anyway, we're getting too deep right now for this conversation. I'm going to speak my desire now because I am present. My desire is to see this technology explode, multiplied upon this earth for the restoration of the earth and the stabilization of the food production for the planet, mankind, and animals. And with that, I give you my blessings and thank you for your ear. Peace. And you may mute me.
Thank you very much. Anything about that, Caroline? Would you like to say something? Do you have any other?
Yes. Sorry, I needed to find a button to be able to open a microphone. The knowledge is there, darling, and it is already spreading, and it is to serve humanity, not to be served. And it is in the right proportion. And that's why there are so many knowledge seekers which are attracted to explore and to expand the knowledge, to make sure no one will miss out on this giving and receiving. It will be beautiful, and it is already so beautiful to see how many souls are putting their support under this kind of work. It is not easy. And I see that, you know, in so many ways I can answer that with all you knowledge seekers, there is no, and there was no need for hurricanes, as you knowledge seekers are already putting so much weight and bringing so much knowledge to make sure that this serving will spread equally among people, among humans, among plants, among animals. You really are truly serving humanity. And you're looking at any corner where you can do, where you can contribute, where you can come and give. And this is the beauty of the knowledge. So I can confirm that your wish has already been granted, because it will serve not only humanity, but it will serve the totality, and it will serve our planet, and so much more. So I am present in your wish.
I am present. Perhaps I could read the comment from Bernie in the chat, the last comment, which is, says, when we start holding within ourselves the feeling of no more fear, for we do not like being in the fear state anyway, the feeling of full love, the feeling of full of love, the feeling of being open to any being, everything also follows according to such state and feeling. It simply means we all have the say to what reality to happen next, and any circumstance does not really matter at all. When we start following our excitement and do our day-to-day activities that way, and focus our activities like a service to others, and be contented, life becomes more exciting every moment. Okay, thank you, Bernie.
Good evening, everybody.
Must be Jalal. Hi,
Yes.
Jalal.
Hi. Hi, everyone. Can I say something?
No, because it might take you to a different, you first have to target Udine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
First, Udine. Udine. You.
Oh, there's somebody at the garbage. Be right back.
There's no room here, Mehran. We would have come out with room.
Maybe the mic of Caroline is open.
Hello.
Hi, Caro.
Hello. Hi. Good evening, Jalal. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. How are you, guys?
What are you going to share with us tonight, Jalal?
I said I will say I miss you guys. Long time no speak.
Yeah, I've been moving and sometimes I'm short of hours in the day. How is your group working, Jalal?
Oh my God, we are growing.
You're growing. That's good news because we have kickstarted all the KF SSI's official chat groups. We are working by language as much as we can because we want people to share and to be able to communicate in their culture so that speaking is easier. And
I have one question in that, Caroline. Is it allowed to bring everyone wish to be in, let's say, in Kasha Arabic? Or they must be selected?
Can you repeat your question, please?
Is it allowed to bring anyone want to join in the Kasha Arabic Facebook, or they must be selected?
No. They have to be. You have to take a certain amount of care when you allow people. You check their Facebook if they have been on Facebook for quite a number of months or years. And if you're not sure about somebody, just inform me, because we have a lot of what we call trolls. We don't give them no names, but we are careful because they come in as infiltrators and then they start posting.
Yes.
And they make life difficult for you. So be a little bit apprehensive in how and who you get into the groups. We hope we can work on an open platform as much as we can, that we can share with pleasure, because it's all about knowledge. It's all about educating people and to be very friendly, because there is one thing, as I will repeat the same as the gentleman said before, we respect everyone. Everyone is welcome as long as there is respect. And that's the only thing that matters in working with the groups or on social media. So I think if we have mutual respect, we will be working great.
Okay. I would like to share some thoughts with you guys, if I am allowed to that. And I know I am allowed to speak.
Of course you can.
Thank you. Part of the solution for every problem that you notice that there is a problem. First thing, if I want to visualize who are we as a human and who is up there, the universe community, if they allow us to join to their community, it's the same thing, the animal kingdom and the human beings. There is a lot of animals in our houses, in our streets, but not all of them. Even the kinds, we have a lot of dogs and cats, but not all the cats, not all the dogs. There is wild dogs, there is vicious dogs, there is wild cats, there is vicious cats, birds. So we are not allowing them to join our community. Even our dogs, we leash them, we put them in some habits because their habits, there is no communicating between us, at least from our side, because I think they are communicating with us, but we don't notice that. So if you notice, comparing yourself to the universe community, it's the same thing, that like you are the animal and they are the human. So how are you gonna how are you gonna say it, solve this problem, this issue? It's not about you are chasing some dream to put all foods for everyone and water for every thirst and all of that. The simple thing that you must think that you need to change. You need to change all this habit and this physicality. Like once, twice, so many times, Mr. Kai said, it's due to your condition here on Earth. You are like this. You are wild, like because all the inhabitants of Earth is wild. Even who is above us, who is a little bit more advanced, even they are throwing their sorry to this word, their shits in to us. The same thing what we are doing to Earth. We are spending all this bad things in earth and soil and seas for other creatures. It's the same thing. Even these creatures, these entities need to be disciplined also, because if they notice they are humans and now they going to be opened up to the universe, they need to really help us in that thing and help themselves, because they are throwing so many things at us. All these viruses, all this, I don't know what to call it, packages of bad energy for, or big energy for us. They are doing some harms. So the issue here, how we gonna open up to the universe? If we still with this physicality, I don't think so. If we still with this mentality, even I don't think so. Can we trust stranger, or we cannot? It's the same thing. If the animals, if the mama animal say to her baby animal, don't trust human because they are killing you. And the same thing, when we are teaching our kids, don't trust this bees, don't trust this lion, don't trust this alligator, because we are seeing them as vicious and animals. They are can harm us, and they the same thing. They see us this in the same way. They are who is the vicious, who are like harming the animals. So I think we need to begin to recognize with our mentality, with our needs, with our all these things. I don't think that we will be opened. Maybe individual as a pets for the others, but as a real entity who have the power, who have the trust. I think the trust most important thing, that you trust is everything outside is okay. And the same, if we learn how really give, not even in attention, but we do something. Wishing, it's okay from this part. But is it enough? I hope it's enough. I hope in the meantime. And I am present in your wish, Caroline, because really it is my wish that we open up the eye for the teacher who brought all of that to us. And we need to wish really that all human being knows about the teacher in a real way, in an open way. Because if we stay like this, maybe we need 1,000 more years. We need to open up for Keshe Foundation in a wide way. So, thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Jalal. Is there anybody else who's in the panelists who would like to come forward? There's, I see Hassan has a hand up. I'm not sure if that was up from before, or is there something you'd like to say now? I'll unmute you, Hassan, and see if, hello? Did you want to speak? I'm not hearing anything from you there, so. Hello, I see you're trying to speak, but it's not coming through.
Yeah, hello.
Oh,
Do you hear me?
yes, hi. Did you want to talk again?
Yeah, a little bit about what Jalal was talking about. He closed with saying that we have to spread this knowledge as much as we can. But for my personal situation, I want to ask some little stuff. Maybe I can share about my background. I'm born in Senegal, in Africa, but I'm from an Arabic origin. So I'm from Lebanon. I do not speak. I do not read Arabic. I cannot write Arabic, but I talk. I talk Arabic, but I'm more fluent in French because here we learn at school from a small age. We learn French. It's the most spoken language, and we have the local language is Wolof. So I'm fluent in that language. And I know that Senegal is represented in the World Peace Treaty. Maybe I can make something here from Senegal. I just made some gants. I am trying to learn little by little. I gave some paint pens, some paint patches that eggs, which had some other eggs in the back. And I want to spread it more. But what I was talking, what I want to ask.
Hello?
But I'm born here, country for nearly 40 years now, and Arabic is not. I moved to Lebanon 2 times or 3 times in my life, but I'm more feeling a sense of African, even.
Hello, sorry, we're losing some conversation
So
there.
can try to teach, but I'm not that fluent in English, and I'm not that. How can you say it? l'aise in French. We say à l'aise. I'm not to talk. Maybe I can teach, but I don't know if I can teach. So maybe somebody, maybe Jalal, we can keep in touch to see how to represent Senegal.
Yes, brother.
Is it the
I am
French
there.
language?
Hassan.
Yeah, here.
I am there for you. Anytime you need me.
Can I come in, please? Sorry about that. Where about in Senegal do you come from? Are you in which city? Hello? Oh, you're on no mic.
Hello, Hassan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah.
Now we hear you.
Which city of Senegal are you in?
Yeah, I'm in Dakar.
Ah, you're in Dakar.
Yeah, but I moved in a small village which name is Guerrero, and it's a little something like 50 kilometers from Dakar. But it's 1 hour by car, so it's not so far from the main city.
Oh, okay. How far are you from? You're not far, but you're far from Banjul.
Yeah, a little bit, maybe like Banjul is 500 kilometers maybe from Dakar. But Banjul is 5-6 hours by bus. So if they need to move,
There are some people who work in Banjul with the Keshe Foundation. We have a Keshe Foundation supporters there, and there are quite a few people in Senegal who I know who work. We try to put you in touch with them.
Oh, that would be great, because I didn't know that there's people from Senegal involved.
Yes, we have Senegal. We have, I think, in university in Dakar as well. I know we have quite a few people in Banjul who work with the foundation work. If you send your name and detail to the webmaster, I'll try to put you in touch with the French speaking and the people in Senegal.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I worked in that part of the world. I know a few people who are around the foundation and they work with us. I'll put you in touch with them.
Yeah, I would love to serve, and maybe my origin, can I ask you a little thing, Mr. Kesh? My grandfather is from Palestinian origin.
You're
So
Lebanese Palestinian.
yeah, but the big problem in Lebanon is that you cannot be Lebanese because the mother cannot give the nationality. So we are in that
What's your
case.
mother's side?
Lebanese, 100%.
100% Lebanese. Oh, okay.
Yeah, my father is half Lebanese, half Palestinian. But his mother is born in Senegal. They moved after the civil war, long time ago.
Yeah,
So
I know the west coast of Africa is homeland for Lebanese.
Yeah, but with our case is half Palestinian, so we cannot have the Lebanese nationality. So 40 years now, I live with the Senegalese nationality. I cannot have another one.
But you're born in Senegal.
Yeah, I'm born in Senegal. I lived in Senegal. My mother died in Senegal, and my father passed by 2 years ago in Lebanon. So it's he left a lot of stuff here for us in Lebanon, but nothing is in our name because of this problem of nationality.
That can be sorted in a different way. I have a lot of good friends in Lebanon, in the government, at the high level with people. I work quite a lot with Lebanese Bassoon family, and Iftikhar family, and Jamal family. I know them very well. Send me a thing, maybe we can help you with the Keshe Foundation work in Dhaka.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
we have a lot of support in Conakry. So one way or another, maybe we can help you to do things there.
Okay, this would be great. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. I'll send my coordinate for the webmasters. That's it.
Webmaster at spaceshipinstitute.org. And then when I receive it, then I'll try to link you up with that site, because I used to work in that area. So if I can sort something out for you, we help you out with it.
I'll hear from you all. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you very much. Thank you for serving humanity and wishing the best for all.
Thank you very much indeed.
And Hassan, if you need anything, I am there for you, my friend.
Thank you, Jalal. I'll contact you maybe by Facebook. I think that you're on my Facebook.
Yeah. Okay.
And we'll try to see how to spread all the love humanity should deserve.
Yes, my brother.
Okay, thank you. I'm wondering if we should tie things up for today with at the 3-hour mark or so, or shall we carry on? Caroline, can you give me some direction here?
Can you speak up a little bit, Rick? I can barely hear you, darling.
Oh, okay. Let me rearrange my microphone.
That sounds a lot better.
Okay. I'm wondering whether we should carry on here or wrap things up for today. We're at around the 3-hour mark now.
Okay, we can wrap it up, Rick. We're going to start slowly, try to stay within the time frames. We have a lot to digest today. We have a lot of inputs, which I really enjoy from you knowledge seekers and council members. It's beautiful when we start working together. And it is really a joy to be here. Thank you so much for all your presence, for all your wishes, for all your intents, and spreading the knowledge. Thank you very much.
Yes, I think everyone who spoke today had something to contribute, and it was a good totality. Okay, so we can wrap things up for today, and we'll get Flint to play some music to go out with. And this has been the 4th meeting of the One Nation, One Planet, One Race for World Peace for Tuesday, September 5th, 2017. As always, thank you everybody for attending. And thank you, Flint, for providing our musical interlude here.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you very much. We're going to go in and we're going to go out with a lot of pleasure of music.